Hi, everybody. Welcome to Consistently Creative Crew. I am Colleen along with Cheryl and Kari, and we're here tonight to put together the project recipe, Hit the Road, together. I am showing the project recipe. The instructions were sent out. They're also on our Facebook page. They were sent out early this afternoon. For supplies, you need your base papers are 2 album pages or 2 pieces of white cardstock or whatever paper you choose. And then you use 3 designer papers. I am actually doing exactly as the project recipe shows because I just finished a 2-week road trip. If you're using a directional paper, like I will be, you need to pay attention to which direction it's going, and I'll be giving those directions. And then your paper that you're going to make the triangles with across the top and the bottom, they want to have a good contrasting color. So here you can see this is a bright blue with multicolored, so that they show up. You can see on my sample I did blue and gold, so they have a good contrast. And then 2 other decorative papers and a border maker cartridge, or that's a chain style, or a border punch that's a chain style. And what I mean is when you punch it, it separates from the piece of paper, stands alone. So for tools, we're very light. You don't need a whole lot. It's just a little bit of thought. Here is the sample that I made using a different collection called Welcoming Woodblock Prints, which was an advisor exclusive. And on my sample, you will see that the tops and the bottoms aren't exactly the same, because I found out that if you don't cut your triangles the exact same way every time, you can't make them exactly the same. So my advice to you would be your triangles is to cut them from the top right to the bottom left. Or if you like, yeah, that's what I would suggest to you, is to do it that way. And we shall see. But as you can see with my little sample piece of paper that I made, if I cut it that way and then I turn it for the license plate signs, you'll be able to read the text. So just bear with me. So I do believe that is it. Are there any questions on the requirements?
Do we use the entirety of any of the pages, or is it just like, could I get away with a partial?
The only paper you don't use the majority of is the first paper, the paper that is used to create the triangles. You'll end up with 4 inches left. And that's the paper that you really want to have a good contrast between the front and the back, as shown in the project recipe. And I'm using what's called for in the project recipe. I'm using the license paper and the blue, the vibrant blue. And then on the wood block sample that I did, this paper was a gold with stars and blue again, so a high contrast.
Okay.
And then I know you can't see, Deanna, but paper number 1, you'll end up with 4 inches left over and a 4-inch by 12-inch strip. And then the other 2, you almost use everything.
Got it.
Okay. So let's get our trimmer out.
Hey, I will share the advisor guide before you get started.
Thank you.
Sure.
Art's keeping me straight.
Okay, here we go. So here is the advisor guide, and zoomed in, hopefully you can see some of those things that Colleen was talking about, where you can see how much of the license plate paper you're seeing peeking out there behind the blue, the other side of that paper. So in general, the advisor guide chose to start with 2 sheets of white solid cardstock and add 3 sheets of designer paper. And as Colleen said, not only is a good contrast between the front and the back of their pattern paper, but there's a good contrast between the other 2 because we're going to be punching those. So These are their suggested pairings. They have 4 of them, different ones, depending on what your pattern paper that you're going to be selecting. So their completed kit, and then their tools. So the trimmer, the road trip border punch, tape runner, repositionable tape runner, and the hit the road stickers, pen, and foam squares are optional. And for those of you who are doing digital, we will do a separate recording for that, and cutting these triangles should be pretty straightforward and pretty easy, and gives us the opportunity to make some right triangles in Artisan. So I think that's everything. So I will turn it back over.
Thank you. And I also want to point out, because I didn't notice it for the longest time, that you are punching the border that you punch. You're punching it twice. You punch it in 2 different papers. So you punch it out of paper number 2 and you punch it out of paper number 3. So that may inform what papers you use. Because when I did mine, there wasn't a good contrast. So I ended up just subbing in some cardstock.
So we're layering it?
Yes, so it's layered. And you could also skip that part. Yes, it
No,
is.
I'm just asking for clarification.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is layered. And it's meant to be layered. Let me double check that I did the right thing. Yeah, it's meant to be layered with this big 5-inch by 12-inch piece. That's the same paper that you punch it out of. And then the paper that's 9 by 9, which I also ended up subbing in cardstock for, is the other layer. Because the colors didn't work for me. I like how it turned out. Hopefully that didn't confuse you. Okay, so I'm gonna go on the deep end here, and I'm gonna use a directional paper. Paper number 1 is the one that you're gonna use that's gonna create these triangles, and you're gonna flip them over. I'm gonna show both sides of the triangle. So in order for this to work for me, I'm gonna cut 4 inches with the words going across, like landscape, across the paper at 4 inches. And you need to cut 2 strips.
2 4-inch strips?
Yes, 4 by 12 strips.
Got it.
And then this remainder 4 piece is scrap. And now you're going to rotate the paper. And because mine has words on it, I'm going to go this way. The words are now going up and down, and cut it 1.5. And with 1.5, you can cut it inside to the left of the cut line or to the right of the cut line. So you just cut 1 entire strip at 1.5. Go all the way down.
Kari and I are both moderating.
Okay.
All right. I think it's okay. I wasn't sure if I was.
It
All
is me.
right. Okay.
But if you want to do it, you can
No, no.
type it. I'm good. I'm glad you noticed that.
So do we
because-
just keep going then? We just keep going at 1.5?
Yes, you just cut the whole 1 strip at 1.5. The second strip, you don't cut the entire strip. 1.5 inches all the way down. And I'm double checking my last strip, because some of our papers can be a little bit big, and mine was. So I have a little strip that I cut off, and a teensy tiny little piece that I cut off. Okay, your second 4-inch, you need to cut 4 at 1.5. 4 at 1.5. And then you're going to cut at 2 inches. Make one cut at 2 inches. The remainder is scrap. You're going to rotate it and you're going to cut it at 2 inches. And you're also going to cut these on the diagonal. So you line the point up to the dotted cutting line on the top and the bottom. I'm going to cut it on the diagonal. Set those aside.
Okay, hang on, you lost me.
You need to pause for a second.
Yep.
I got the 4 pieces at 1.5, then cut 1 piece at 2 inches. So are you talking about one of the 4 pieces that I cut at 1.5?
No, the next cut is 2 inches.
Okay, the next cut is 2 inches.
Yes.
Okay. And then
Rotate it,
again
cut it
at 2 by 2.
2 inches.
Got it. Okay, now I understand. Sorry.
Sorry, I thank you. I apologize.
So Colleen, pause for a second. So you ended up with how many of the rectangles that were 4 by 1.5? Was it 12 of those?
There are 12.
And then there are 2 squares that are 2 by 2.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But then you cut those 2 by 2 in half?
In half on the, yes.
Point, yeah, point to point, diagonally.
And now we're going to take our 12 pieces that are 4 inches by 1.5 and cut them on the diagonal. And I recommend the top right corner on the cutting line and the bottom left corner on the cutting line. You're welcome to pause and let me do mine, and we'll see if it's correct.
I'll let you just cut a couple so we get
Yeah.
a couple on the tape.
Then that is as the guide goes. And now I have built my first section that goes across the top. Just take the same piece and you flip it up on itself. So that is taking the top right. If you do it the other way, then just do all of them the other way.
You just have to be consistent
You have
regardless.
to be consistent. And for mine, for the words to show up, I believe I need to do it this way. Whichever way you do it, just always do it that way. And then we're just going to cut them all. Again, I am doing top right, bottom left on the cutting line. So we can, unless anyone has a question, we can pause. Okay, so we've just cut our 12 triangles on the diagonal. And what you do is you just take the bottom triangle and you flip it up. And now you have created your layered triangles. And it's a 4-inch piece. That's all there is to it. And we'll set those aside to put on when we finish our cutting later. So the next thing you're gonna do is take your border cartridge, your border punch or border, you can use a border maker cartridge. Just make sure it's a chain style, meaning when you punch, it separates from the piece of paper. And both of the next 2 pieces of paper get punched. So we're just going to punch both of the papers. Call that economy of effort. Use our punch twice and set it aside, and then we'll finish cutting our papers. I tried to use other paper, but I just love this so much that I just used exactly what the sample had, so. But I think you got to see the other sample I made, so that gives an idea. So you punch 2 borders. You're layering the borders. You punch 2 out of each of your papers. Okay, go on to my second paper. Punching 2 more borders. And if you use a border maker cartridge, you'll have a little bit more paper left over because they're smaller. Okay, I have 1 more punch to go. What's everybody doing for their borders?
I honestly don't remember the name of mine. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's the one that looks vaguely like DNA.
I'm not sure I know which one that is.
Hang on, I'll show it in a minute.
Yeah. When you get
It's
a
like the painted something or other. This one?
Oh, I see. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact name. It's like something.
What is it? I didn't see it.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When you're finished punching, pull out your 12-inch trimmer. And I'm just going to clean up my edge. Everybody okay to move on? I'm sorry, someone said something, but I don't know what it was.
Almost.
Okay. Cutting the paper number 2, and we're just going to cut a strip at 4 inches, and then the remainder will be 5. So you make the first cut of paper number 2 at 4 inches. You should have 5 inches left, and that's the piece. You rotate your 4-inch piece and cut it at 6. Those are your 2 photo mats. And the third piece of paper, you are just making a 9-inch square. Cut it at 9 inches. Should almost be what you have left. I just had a little smidge to take off. And then rotate and cut it at 9. And this is scrap. So to review, paper number 2, you cut it 4 inches. And then you rotated it and cut it 6 once. So you have 2 4x6 photo mats. And the remainder is 5 inches by 12, which is the piece of paper. And paper number 3, you just cut to a 9-inch square. So my paper was just a scoochy scooch over 9. So I cleaned up the edge and rotated it and cut it at 9. And that remainder of the paper is scrap. And that is it for cutting.
Hmm. Don't look at. Hmm.
So you want to get out your, I forgot to mention, repositionable is your friend. Oh, I forgot to load a new one. You know it'll run out on me. But the first thing you do is put the borders on. And you can see these line up with each other and they go on at every 4 inches. So I'm just going to flip them all over to the opposite side and use repo on the corners. And then you line them up right at the top edge of the paper at the 4-inch marks, every 4 inches. Is anybody struggling with getting their triangles?
Nope. You explained it very well.
Good. And then I'm going to repo the other side and just flip them up. And you match the edges together. The wide edges of the triangle. Okay, and then you repeat the same pattern at the bottom. So I'm actually just putting mine down upside down so I can put the repo on. And you repeat this for both sides of your paper. As soon as I get this one mounted, we'll take a pause. Every 4 inches, so make sure I'm still on the paper. Okay, so that's the border on one half of the layout. And I think we can pause and I'll put the other half together. can we start? Okay, so here are the borders, down with the grace of a lot of repo. And we're just gonna build it. This is your 5 by 12 inch piece of paper. Goes on the left-hand side, and your 9 inch by 9 inch piece of paper goes on top, centered, fits perfectly right in between your border. Then you have your photo mats on the right-hand side, centered, your 4 by 6 photo mats. Then you layer your border punches on top of each other. And you can kind of offset them. You can use foam squares, you know, whatever you want to give it a little bit more oomph. I'll be using a lot of repo there. And then your little tiny triangles. I had the hardest time finding these. They stacked them on top of each other, just a little bit offset, and placed top left up here, bottom right down here. But I was like, why did I cut these? Why did I cut these little 2-inch triangles? I can't even find them. But they go there, and I'll show you on my completed sample. And it's mimicking the same, you know, it's from the same paper at the top, and it's here and there. Not necessary, but just adds a little bit more. So then I think, unless anyone has any questions, we will pause while I put this together the rest of the way. Okay, welcome back. And here is my completed layout. I have the 4 by 4 photos on the left-hand side and the double border going across the bottom. I added an embellishment cluster, the top, at the bottom, and again at the top to draw you across. The little tiny triangles are layered on the corners here. And I'm excited that I just got back from this trip on Friday and I have 1 2-page layout done. Check with me, see how long it takes me to get the rest of the 2-week trip scrapbooked. At least I started. And let's see, who else would like to share?
I can share.
Okay, Lynn.
Let me get my camera reversed here. If I can figure out how.
Oh, cute, the Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Very
cute.
cute.
that's
Really
cute,
nice.
Lynn.
Thank you.
Very nice, very nice.
I like how you did, just repeated it on both sides.
Yeah, because of the shape of the photos, I had to use landscapes, so changed it up a little bit.
Karen, did I hear you say you wanted to share yours?
Yeah, I'm happy to share mine.
Okay. Ooh,
Nice.
I like the drinks layered. Very nice.
Yeah, and then this is the second page. So I think I'm gonna add some pocket pages with some additional pictures and journaling, but
Oh,
yeah.
great. Looks
Yeah.
nice.
Cute.
And anybody else want to share?
I can share mine.
Great. We'd love to see it, Debbie.
There I am. Okay. See that?
Yes, we
Mm,
can.
yes.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
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 Good.
Did the same paper you did.
Okay. Looks great.
Nice.
Wow.
Where was your trip?
This was to Pigeon Forge, Titanic.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
Nice.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. It's very much fun to do. I
Great.
like that layout.
Wonderful. And Cheryl, you want to show yours?
Sure. Oh, there we are.
Nice.
It's kind of busy, so I don't think I have any room for any more anymore.
I like it.
I'm just
I
gonna
like
make a title here.
Yeah, looks good.
Looks good.
Awesome. Yeah,
It looks
loved it. Thanks,
nice.
Colleen.
Looks good.
Sun-kissed. Nice tropical collection.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I can share mine.
All right.
Oh,
Oh, so
Yeah.
cute.
love it.
The
That's
snow
great.
was so deep compared to them,
Wow.
especially when they were little.
I was gonna say they look like puppies. Were they
They were
puppies?
puppies.
Okay.
They were
Aw.
puppies.
Did you
Yeah.
get them at the same time?
They're litter mates, so yes.
Oh,
Realize that.
Aw.
Yep.
cute.
Great pages, Corey.
Yeah,
Thanks.
they are good.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, it looks nice. I like your paper too.
Thank you.
Okay, so I
Oh,
think
that's
that's it.
Thank you so much.
Anything else, ladies?
Hmm.
If you're inclined, there'll be a folder you can share, take a photo of your layout and post it in to share. We have a lot of folks that don't join us live, but do our layouts, watching the recording. So thanks, everybody. Oh, and here's a reminder to do the Creative Memories road trip.
The
And that-
bingo. Yeah, the bingo, Colleen.
Bingo.
Bingo.
And I had mine out, here it is, slightly used. But it's good through September 2nd, and you just, like, here's photo of a funny bumper sticker, photo of your car at the gas station, a railroad crossing, a fully packed trunk. You go to Costco, you got a fully packed trunk. And photo of a construction zone, and you have bingo, and you can enter, and they're giving 2 prizes away every month for people that enter bingo, and it's on the Creative Memories virtual crop page.
Nice.
Awesome.
Right.
Thanks
Thanks.
for the reminder.
Buddy.
Awesome.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone. Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thanks, Colleen.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Thanks, Colleen.